Now with Team Affinity Season 3 coming out, I went ahead and already crunched up all 31 players. Yes, 31, not 30, because that Shohei Ohtani definitely deserves to be on the list. And we're going to go 31 to number 1 out of the best players in Team Affinity Season 3 and the best players you should go after instantly. But we're starting from the back and then going to the front. Pause. Make sure you guys hit that like button and red subscribe button. That's all I ask. We stream each and every single day on Twitch at 1 a.m. Eastern, and then everything else that you will need will be inside the description, from how to become a member to the Discord link, as well as all my social medias and my other YouTube channels. So coming in at number 31, I have Trevor Rogers. He is a 3-pitch starting pitcher. Changeup and slider, those are the only 2 off-speed pitches, and despite those being 2 good off-speed pitches, because one is vertical and the other one is horizontal, him having 2 fastballs really does not help him out too much. And the fact that he's a starting pitcher, I highly doubt you can get more than 4 solid innings before your opponent just starts ripping him apart completely. I highly doubt you get more than 3 solid innings, to be completely honest with you, because as soon as your opponent knows it's fastballs coming 50% of the time most likely, and then the off-speed pitches being around the same speed, they're just going to start picking him up and absolutely raking off of him. And then we go to the NL Central for number 30, and number 30 is going to be Craig Kimbrough. Why does Craig Kimbrough come in at number 30 instead of number 31, even though he only has 2 pitches? It's because of his hit per 9 and K per 9 being both 125, and then add to it, that 4-seam is going to be a lot more overpowering than Trevor Rogers, as it's 97 and the game will probably hit 100. And then that knuckle curve has a good speed differential, but him having only 2 pitches probably makes him the worst reliever to come out of the entire Team Affinity 3 set. Then we're going to go all the way to the West, and we're going to go to the Angels in particular, because Jared Walsh, all he is really a platoon hitter, great against right-handers, but versus left-handers he's not going to be great at all. He is a relief pitcher at the same time, but I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure what his pitching attributes are or what he has in terms of his repertoire, but at best he's going to be sitting on your bench, and we already have a bunch of hitters that can go ahead and give us the same performance that Jared can, such as Jim Thome, and you got him from the previous Team Affinity. And then staying with platoon hitters, we're going to go to the AL East, where at catcher we're going to have ourselves Mike Zanino. He's horrible against right-handers, but excellent against left-handers. The reason why he's so low as well is because we have a ton of catchers in Team Affinity Season 3, and we also got Kyle Schwarber, and Kyle Schwarber will absolutely destroy Mike Zanino when it comes from the offensive side. And if worst comes to worst, he's not even the guy you want to platoon with Kyle Schwarber. I don't know why I'm saying the names a little bit, weird right now. After Mike Zanino, I have Rafael Devers. Same thing as Jared Walsh and same thing as Mike Zanino. All he is a platoon hitter. But the best thing about Rafael Devers is that unlike those 2 guys, he does have good enough contact to go ahead and play on a higher difficulty with him. So he's going to be able to stay at third base or first base and face a lefty with no problem, as opposed to Mike Zanino facing a righty and Jared Walsh facing a lefty. Then we're going to go back to the AL Central. This might be the first time we're in the AL Central actually, and we're going to go to Nelson Cruz. Now, all around, probably a great bench bat, no matter what side is pitching, whether it's right-handed or left-handed. Why he's so low on the list is because of his fielding and his reaction. At best, all he's going to be is a bench bat. He will never play the field because he just doesn't have the fielding and he just doesn't have the reaction to go ahead and do so. We're going to go now to the NL East, where we have ourselves a catcher by the name of JT Raumuto. Now, he's great against right-handers. The fielding is great, but fielding doesn't matter for catchers. Blocking doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is arm strength and reaction, which he has 98 arm strength and 82 reaction. So a great defensive catcher, but then from the hitting point of view, he's good still. The contact versus left and power versus left are really what hurts him and what doesn't allow him to be placed higher than the next guys, as well as us already having a better catcher available later on in the list, and then Kyle Schwarber as well. Like, I'm taking into consideration everything inside the game while making this list. We're going to go back to the AL West, and this time around we're going to left field. Left field, Michael Brantley, great contact hitting. Power versus right, he has the pop. Versus left, not so much pop, but it still should be good enough. He has usually a good swing in the game. 83 fielding, 88 reaction is good. but as opposed as what you can have playing at your secondary positions in left field, he's just not going to make the cut. And staying with the AL West, we're going to go to Matt Olson. Now, this Matt Olson card to me is a little bit more disappointing than I expected, because I expected him to have over 100 contact on both sides, no problem, and then over 110 power on both sides, no problem. But what I think SDS did is, in order to not give him a 99, because his fielding and reaction are so great, since he has diamond defense almost every single time in the game at first base, they went ahead and nerfed what his contact numbers and power numbers should have been in order for Jacob Degrom to be the only 99 overall inside the game. Going to the AL East once again, we are going to have ourselves Teoscar Hernandez. Now, why is Teoscar Hernandez so low on the list? Well, he plays right field primary. He's going to be a great hitter, but the fielding, that's where you're going to get hurt at. So he reminds me of a lot of Dante Bichette, if I can go ahead and compare him to any player. And Dante Bichette, you could have gotten him in the previous one, and I'm pretty sure that Dante, if not the same fielding, he's going to have better fielding than Teoscar Hernandez. Then back to the AL West we go, where we got ourselves a starting pitcher in Yusei Kikuchi. Now, he has a cutter and a four-seam, so 2 good fastballs. He has a slider and a changeup, so 2 good off speeds. His hit per 9 at 107 is actually really good as well. The thing about him is that the off speed doesn't really change the speed differential. The good thing about him is the cutter and slider. You can mix that up well. He would have been so much better if he would have had a sinker, but it's a fastball, so it's coming straight at you. And another thing is that with that fastball and cutter combination, I forgot what I was going to say, but with that fastball and cutter combination, I just remembered, it's not coming in at overpowering speeds. Like 96 miles per hour is rarely, if ever, going to touch 100 miles per hour. So even on the later difficulties, it's not going to be coming in at crazy speeds. And the cutter coming in at 92, it's going to be a pitch that's very easy to go ahead and read and time up and crush as well. We'll go back to the AL East now, where we have ourselves center fielder Cedric Mullins. Now, Cedric Mullins is a great hitting card, like 100% someone that you would love to have in Battle Royale. You can even place him on your Diamond Dynasty team, but the downside is fielding at a 77, reaction at a 78. If you parallel him up to parallel 3, you'll have gold fielding, gold reaction, so that will be a lot better. Speed at an 84 is also pretty good, but there are some better center field options. That's what caused him to drop in this case scenario. Going to the NL West, we have another starting pitcher in Kevin Gausman. 96 miles per hour, like I said previously, it's good, but it's not overpowering. I like the fact that he has 4 off-speed pitches. I would have loved to have replaced that curveball and added a sinker instead, but unfortunately he doesn't throw that. But he has good pitch speed differentials between the fastball and the off-speed pitches. But then when it comes to the splitter, changeup, and curveball, they're all around the same speed, so that's not going to help him out a ton. But the fact that he has a good variety of pitches to go ahead and work with, that's what allowed him to move up inside the list. Going back to the AL West, we have Adolesce Garcia. Now, Adolesce Garcia, great contact, great power numbers. The fielding, reaction, that's what hurts him. Even if you superfractor him to even if you superfractor him, +5 only gives him silver reaction still, so he just misses that gold. The 86 speed is going to help him out tremendously, and he's a great hitter. That's what allows him to move up again, that's what allows him to be placed higher than Cedric Mullins. The fielding, the arm strength, and then the speed being better. And then up next is going to be from the AL Central. We're going to go all the way to Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon, I like him because the 96, as I said, is going to be good enough. He has a slider, changeup, and curveball, and the biggest difference is that 8 miles per hour differential between that changeup and curveball is going to allow you to deceive a lot of hitters. And then the hit per 9 and K per 9 are also pretty high. In general, this card came out a lot better than I expected, and I think him being a lefty is going to also be pretty good. Now, the only downside is he throws a 2-seam. If he threw a cutter or a sinker instead of a 2-seam, this card would be even better than that. Now, going to the NL Central, we have a second baseman. We have ourselves Adam Frazier. Great contact hitter against both sides, and he has reverse splits when it comes to his power numbers, as he's better against left-handers in terms of power. The reason why he's so high on the list, despite being a second baseman and us having a ton of more second basemen appearing or going to appear, is the fact he can play third base, shortstop, left field, center field, right field. And him having 93 fielding, 98 reaction means that despite you putting him at third, short, left, center, or right, he's still going to have diamond fielding out there. So that is beautiful. And if he doesn't have diamond fielding off rip, as soon as you parallel him up to parallel 1, he should have diamond fielding at each one of those positions. So you can go ahead and basically slot him anywhere you want. And staying in the central, but this time going to the AL, we're going to have the best catcher in Team Affinity Season 3, which is Salvador Perez. Hits both sides fairly well. Has good enough arm strength at an 80, has a pretty good reaction at an 87, and a really good swing in the game. You can't really ask for much more, but once again, I still would put Kyle Schwarber over him. But if you wanted to platoon for Kyle Schwarber, it would definitely be Salvador Perez over Mike Zanino, because he's the man that has 125 against both sides. Now going back to the NL West, who I believe is one of, if not the best center fielder that we got, and surprisingly, it's Chris Taylor. Great contact numbers against both sides, really good against lefties, and then the fielding at an 87 with reaction at an 89. That means at parallel 3, he's going to have diamond fielding. At parallel 1, he's going to have diamond reaction. 78 speed is going to be good enough because the fielding and reaction make up for it, and he also has a good swing in the game. Now we're going to the interesting ones, the ones that I consider must-haves or must-tryouts, and we're starting with the NL East. You got Ozzy Albies. Now, despite him not being a great hitter against right-handers in terms of contact, but he meets the threshold in terms of power, I still think his swing allows him to play above his attributes. The fact he's a switch hitter, he's going to have gold fielding, gold reaction, and if worse comes to worse, you can put him at short as well, even though I would not suggest it personally. Staying with the switch hitters, we're going to go to the AL Central, where we have ourselves for the Cleveland Indians, Jose Ramirez. Very similar to Ozzy Albies, I believe his swing will play above his attributes. He's a switch hitter, 75 fielding, 78 reaction is also going to be tremendous for you as well. And then going back to the NL East, we got ourselves the shortstop that I think is going to rival a ton of shortstops, except for your ball player. He's really not going to rival him. But 110, 125, 99, 85. He is the perfect shortstop. Despite having bad fielding, his 99 speed makes up for it. But if worse comes to worse, you can put him at second base, third base, even though I highly suggest second base. And then if you really needed to, you can place him at center field. So if you don't have Trout, getting Trey Turner and then paralleling him up maybe to parallel 2 is still going to give him silver fielding and silver reaction. For center field, the 99 speed is going to make up for basically any bad jump that you can possibly have. And then who I believe is the best switch hitter in the entire thing is going to be Eduardo Escobar. Eduardo Escobar, contact is good enough, power is amazing, and then the fielding at a 79, parallel him up to 1 that turns gold. Reaction starts off as an 81, so that's gold. 69 speed, just like the previous switch hitters except for Ozzy Albies. He can play anywhere. He can play first, he can play second, he can play shortstop, left field, right field. You can literally have an all switch hitting team with all the cards that we have gotten. Now, this might be a little surprising to you all, but I have Josh Hader this high ranked. The reason I have Josh Hader this high ranked is he's 125 against both sides. He's a 3-pitch pitcher, so 3-pitch pitcher, you might be saying, how does he rank so high being only a 3-pitch pitcher? Well, unlike a starting pitcher, he's only coming in for an inning or two, and a 3-pitch pitcher for an inning or two with 125s against both sides is gonna go ahead and basically throw your opponent off or make it extremely difficult for him to go ahead and hit. And going to the AL East, we have the Judge. Now, why is the Judge so highly ranked? Well, if you look at players by right field primary positions, you don't have a great amount of them. And Aaron Judge is going to be, I don't even think it's arguable, the best primary right fielder until Larry Walker drops in probably 20 minutes from now. And when you look at Aaron Judge, the 89 contact, 113 contact, both good enough. 113 is more than good enough. The power is good enough. 99 fielding with 99 reaction and then 90 arm strength with 60 speed. If you play at Ship It or any stadium that has a big wall in right field, or even if you play at Fenway, for crying out loud, Aaron Judge is going to be more than good enough to patrol that entire outfield without you ever having to worry about anything. The only downside that Aaron Judge has is because he's enormous in terms of height, his strike zone is also going to be very big. Now going to the NL West, we have ourselves Hermann Marquez. Good hit per 9, K per 9 is not too appealing, but his arsenal is what's appealing, having a slider, a knuckle curve, a changeup, and then also a sinker. He doesn't have outlier on any of his pitches, unfortunately, but a 97 miles per hour fastball is going to be coming in at 100, and a 95 miles per hour sinker is eventually going to be coming in at 98, as I believe they're popping fireworks outside. Don't think those are gunshots. Then we go to the NL Central, where we have who I believe is the best hitting card inside the entire thing, besides of course the number one, Nicholas Castellanos. He can play first base, he can play third base. You're most likely going to slot him in at first or third. Highly doubt you go to left field, even though if you place him at left field, you're only going to keep bronze fielding. It doesn't really change unless you have him parallel. If you parallel him up to parallel 1, he's going to have silver fielding. He has silver reaction at right field. You take him out of right field, it's going to drop to bronze, but if you superfractor him or get him up to parallel 4, it will go back up to silver. I think this is the best hitter we have by far out of Team Affinity Season 3, and the fact that he can play first base and third base just goes ahead and complements him so well, especially since he has a really good swing inside the game. Then looking at the AL Central, for number 4, it's going to be Gregory Soto. I mean, he has the sinker, he has the slider, he has a four seam, and he has a changeup. 123, 113 is more than good enough. And then outlier on that sinker is going to be beautiful because he's going to be throwing it in at 100 miles per hour. And then staying with those relief pitchers, bullpen arms, you go to the NL Central. You have Alex Reyes. The reason why he's higher than Gregory Soto, it should be obvious. He has a better arsenal. Four seam, sinker, slider, 12-6 changeup, and just like Gregory Soto, outlier on that sinker, so that sinker is going to be hitting 100 miles per hour no problem. Coming in at number 2, it's the only 99 overall that we have in this entire thing, and that's the reason why Live Series Jacob Degrom has dropped in price. You get this 119, 115 hit per 9, K per 9, slider, changeup, curveball with outlier on his fastball. You're never going to have to worry about someone catching up on his fastball in Legend unless they're sitting on it. If they're sitting on it, they're going to catch up, but if they're not, you're going to blow it past them. And then the off-speed pitches with the control and the break they have, they are just going to go ahead and make them so nice. But the number 1, which is unavailable to go ahead and get just yet, I believe, is going to be one that can not only pitch but also hit. And I believe MLB The Show has actually taken him out already. But the number 1 is the Shohei Ohtani card that I went ahead and showed a little bit earlier, that had like 100 hit per 9, 100 K per 9, just a little bit earlier. It seems like we can't find it anymore. I'll go ahead and look it up by here. Oh, there we go. So this is the 99 overall Shohei Ohtani card I was talking about earlier. 112 hit per 9, 107 K per 9. He doesn't have any outlier, but that 97 miles per hour fastball is going to be hitting triple digits. The splitter, slider, cutter, he has a cutter. That's another great fastball. And then 86 miles per hour is a great speed differential with the fastball coming in at 97. Slider at an 80, splitter and curveball, they literally have an 87 to 74. That is a 13 miles per hour differential as well. So that's going to allow you to trick hitters with that vertical movement. And then if you look at his hitting attributes, I mean, 101, 94, 125, 125. Nicholas Castellanos is still the best hitter, but all around, Shohei Ohtani can do it all. He has good enough fielding. Hopefully we can place him in right field, but with those hitting attributes, I mean, versus both sides, he's lethal. He's like Kyle Schwarber, and even better than Kyle Schwarber as a left-handed hitter that can pitch. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Have a blessed day and night. Just stay positive, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll catch you all in the next one. So.